Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. I'm old school, but I keep it funky fresh, y'all. And this is deep, y'all. I'm from the deep, y'all. And what you get is what you motherfucking see.
Welcome back, humans! You know what day it is, and so do I. And yes, I'm bringing you this vent one day late. And I apologize, humans, because I'm usually here, twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. But you know how sometimes Saturdays can go a little different. But I'm here today, and I'm getting it out. And before I get started, I'd appreciate it with a little smash that subscription and hit that like button and turn on those notifications because, like I said, I'm here twice a week. And with that said, my name is Jaime, and it's time to vent. Humans! Well, humans, didn't really take that long to realize. I think now more than ever, our government is really, really against destroying free thinking. That's right, humans. I think they're just ready to go to war with it. And not just Russia. But I think they want to go to war with our free thinking. Now I feel the free thinking is under major, major attack with our free speech. Anything authentic or against the way of what they want seems to be a big problem now. It seems to be a huge problem. And if you get on that target, then you're in trouble. But they're using separation as a weapon more than ever. And they've always used separation. This whole divide and conquer seems to be the major catalyst in this whole plan. Dividing and conquering us by any means necessary. Whether using the creed, the race, religion, etc. Whatever they want to use to keep us separated. And that's why it seems if you want to talk about unity or anything about togetherness is when you become a problem. It doesn't seem like that's part of the plan anymore. It seemed like it was a little facade, like they were talking about it, but it was really a lie. It was like that wink-wink scenario. It's really strange the way they want to keep us separated. I mean, they always keep us, at odds. I mean, look at the news. It's just always about different things. Look at the government now. Look how they're going after the truckers in Canada. I mean, they're calling them terrorists and our humans from our own lands, whether this country or another country, but they're calling humans from their lands terrorists. That's really wild. It's really wild to me. I can't believe they're using those words to people at home. I mean, I could see if we were going and doing some bombing stuff, but these are people that are doing peaceful protests. And then you see actual people there showing footage of what's going on, and you see the peaceful things happening. Then you see the media, the crazy media right now, the mainstream media monsters. They're out there putting all these crazy words in people's mouths and putting all these things out there that we're seeing that are, for humans that aren't there, and they're giving us a different narrative as to what's happening. And yeah, that Trudeau guy's tripping out, trying to freeze bank accounts and trying to do all this crazy thing. They send people in there with horses just running over people. Stuff is getting kind of wild, humans. And so if you preach unity or any type of, I guess just the word unity, I guess any type of unity will get you in trouble. It puts a big target on you. It's wild. How about all those former great leaders? What happened to all the former great leaders? Not good things. Did they make it in history books? Yeah. Did they maybe get a little statue or a little memorabilia? Yeah, probably. Or maybe a little plaque somewhere. But you know what happened with the peoples that, let's just bring a couple for example. Okay, how about Martin Luther King? He preached togetherness. He had a dream. What happened to Martin Luther King? Bang. And I apologize for bringing it up so aggressively on Black History Month. But it's true. He preached something with togetherness, and they took him out. What about Kennedy? Same thing. He was beloved by all, except for the ones who wanted to kill him. Because he preached some kind of togetherness, and wanted to tell some truths, and he decided to like, no, you can't do that, and bang, they take him out. What about even Jesus? Jesus came around performing miracles, preaching love, thy neighbor, and all these other things that I'm not accurately quoting. And they took him out in a different way of a bang. Very aggressively. So that's what happens to people. And they use it in such a crazy, like I said, a very aggressive manner. And they want you to see it, and they want it exploited with what they did to make the next person think twice about even wanting to attempt or even think or have that idea in their mind of stepping up and maybe performing a miracle or preaching and getting people to follow you and preaching togetherness and peace. And if you start to you can go out there and start preaching togetherness and peace. But once you start getting people listening and following in a weird, scary number, that's when you get possibly the poison blow dart. And it's like, and then you're done. It's kind of scary, man. They use this in this crazy scare tactic. It's another way of frightening you, And it sends a message. To me, it sends a message like, you better listen, because this is what they want. I believe the government wants, the schools want, and the economy wants us to consume, obey, and comply. Almost like that they lived scenario. Yes, that they live sounds almost like a really true story. And you heard rumors and all them conspiracies or soon to be true stories, you could say, for some conspiracies nowadays. When Rick Baker or whoever, all them, special effects guys were hired for the film, they were told they were working on a documentary when they were doing the film They Live. And that's strange. I need more answers. Because when you put the glasses on, that's what you saw, obey, comply, consume, trust, money is lowered and all this weird shit. It was all these weird messages when you be looking at a Sports Illustrated bikini issue and you put the glasses on and all of a sudden it says, consume. And I'm like, dang. And then you take the glasses off and it's a bikinis with a nice girl, with big boobs and ass. It's crazy. It's almost like some things like that are happening. No matter what happens, if we ain't consuming, obeying, or complying, there'll be some problems. But anyways, I feel all of this could be just a huge distraction. You ever notice when a president got in trouble or someone of power gets in trouble, well, over here anyways, it seems like they go and bomb somebody or start something. And it's always like someone on the list that they give foreign aid to. It's like, oh, well, come on, man. We already give you like $40 billion a year. We got to this time. It's you guys. And they're like, oh, man, that sucks. And so they pick somebody out of their foreign aid fund, and they go over there and start some shit because they get a little heat on them. Because it feels like there's new science coming out on the data. New data on the science coming out. Seems like more stories are coming out of corruption on a daily basis. It used to be like a monthly basis. Now it's a weekly basis. And now it's a daily basis of just corruption coming out on the daily. So this war, or supposed war, could be a distraction. I don't even know if this really is going to be war. Because you hear that there was just a training, they were doing some kind of training exercises, which they do every year. With the media saying like, oh no, this shit's crazy. And if you look at some of the video, you see some kids with just like wooden weapons and shit. Like, oh, they're that primitive. They're going to start with America and Russia with wooden shotguns. Like, come on, you want some of this? Oh, the borders are tightened with the wooden shotguns. I mean, I'm sure there's real shit there. But you hear different stories. You don't know. Like, same thing with the convoy. You hear in one way with the convoy, and you hear the real story from inside, inside the convoy. And then you see footage from inside, the situation where they say something happens every year to get together. And it feels like somebody's trying to make it up something what it isn't. Maybe just to take off some heat. And you see when they talk to Putin, he's just like, he just rolls his eyes over here. Because we do too. It's because it's our prez. Whenever they get heat, they go and start some shit. You know, the first recent distraction was the Super Bowl. They were like, oh, what are we going to do to get people off our minds? Well, let's bring a bunch of rappers that everybody loves. You know, who could it be? You know, everybody loves Snoop. Like I said, even the aliens love Snoop. So they let the Super Bowl come in. Distraction number one. Now that the Super Bowl's over, back to the war. Or are we going or are we not going? And the convoy. The terrorist convoy. It was the Freedom Convoy, not calling them terrorists. Now it's like supposed terrorist convoy. And I feel bad for them because they're standing there and they're making a good amount of progress out there. And they're keeping themselves nonviolent. And the police and their government over there are trying to make them get that way. And you wonder how this, you see, I don't know if this is true or not, but there was one where I don't know if this is at the Canada thing. There was somebody that dumped a whole dump truck full of rocks. And I don't know if this is at that convoy, like the government just dumped a whole dump truck, you know, full of rocks so people could just grab them and start throwing, hoping that the citizens and the humans over there that are being peaceful and trying to make a stand for their human rights are going to grab these rocks and turn violent. And they brought the horses in there, like I said, and stomped over some people. And that was the main message from Martin Luther King, I believe, when everybody was testing that. You know, the nonviolence. Because when we get violent, we lose right away. And that's when they want. Because they can take away things and more rights from us as soon as we start tripping. But as long as we keep it within our rules, which is in those amendments, they can't do nothing about it. And the media is going to just label us all these crazy labels like they're doing. It's messed up. It's all a big distraction to me. It's all just a big distraction. And this isn't the first time they have distracted us humans. And you know this. Like I said, this first one was the Super Bowl, just the most recent one. And now it's this war or are we not going to war thing. That's the next one. So, and I've said this before, like I said, this isn't the first time. I don't remember, I think it was in the 70s. But do you remember out there, humans, that remember this or look it up? They live streamed. They live streamed from the moon. Yeah, humans, the technology in the 70s, you know, live streamed from the moon. I think it was even Nixon or somebody made like a phone call. They made a live phone call on TV from the Oval Office to the moon. Like probably during his Watergate thing. You know, he was like, this is probably, you know, the craziest phone call I've ever made. I mean, like, he was on this fucking crazy super phone. There was no delay. It was like real live time, like Neil Armstrong or whoever it was, or Buzz or somebody was like answering like right out, like no fucking delay at all. He was like, what's up? How you doing? I'm pretty good. How are you? You know, how's the weather out there? It's kind of quiet out here. You know, doesn't look like cheese. And they was doing that shit live on TV during his scandal, I think, because he was in office and made a live call to the moon. Fucking, so they distract you all the time. You got to pay attention. I think it was the late great Tupac who once said, you got to watch people. Always be watching people because they can fake it for a long time. And it's that one day they're going to show you that phony. And people be doing these things all the time. And it seems like that those one days where they show them phonies, it's starting to, there's a lot more days of them happening right now. Like he predicted that. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. And appreciate the knowledge. But they be trying to distract us all the time. All the time. And we can't let them do it anymore. We got to, and it's happening. You know, I don't like to use the word awakening or and all that crap. But I feel like people are just having enough. They're like, wait a minute. For real? Everyone's like, yes, for real. The ones that already knew. But the media doesn't want to talk about all these crazy things that are going on. Like I was talking about the crazy border insanity that's going on right now. They don't want to talk about with the secret border missions. You know, on the previous episodes. They don't want to talk about that stuff that's going down. They don't want you to know. Midterms are close. You know, so they just want to kiss a little butt right now. mandates are lifting, all of a sudden, and they're trying to take credit for it now. Yeah, I don't let them slip now. You don't get no credit for that stuff. You don't go, man, we went through this. We ain't going to go there. But they keep on distracting us and we can't think about other things. What about, okay, we got to see this kid that went through court that shot some people under self-defense. That was a bananas case. We didn't get to see 1 minute of the Maxwell case, the lady that was involved with the Epstein guy. Nothing about the crazy island. That whole shit. Nothing about the list of clients. But then recently you hear about Prince or whatever, that Prince guy that was messing around on Epstein Island with one of the girls who he says he never knew. He's like, oh no, I don't know her. They're like, well, you're in a picture with her. He's like, I have never met her in my life. Well, who is this man in the picture that looks like me? But that's not me and her. He was just denying it in the royal family. And I guess they ended up paying the girl off. They paid her off with some hush money, but they used an undisclosed amount. And I guess the queen got involved. She was like, man, y'all done messed up. And, and if she's a reptilian, like they say in the conspiracy, he probably got slapped with her lizard tail. He probably got in some kind of, disciplinary action, whatever the lizard people do. And it's bananas. Nobody wants to talk about this Epstein list at all. Why? I'm really interested because I want to see this list of clients. I mean, you see some people, you hear it's out, but no media will touch on it. Because you see some lists that got leaked. You don't know if they're real. So you don't want to just start throwing all the names out. And, there are some confirmed names out there like Bill Gates and, so lots of other celebrities and big names and of all sorts of power and entertainment and such and etc. But we want to see this list or we want to hear what happened. We want to hear some of the details, and they're not giving much. Even when you go and look up at the case itself, there's not a lot on there. There's a lot of paragraphs, you can read on, but they're all them steering around like Saki, steering around, circling back type shit. So I don't understand. And this list of clients or names or visitors and everyone who partied out there, is just in limbo somewhere. And there are some that you don't know if they're true or not, but you see them, you're like, oh my gosh, Who knows if those are real or not? Because you don't really know, because you're not getting much on this case at all. And I'm really interested why nobody wants to talk about it. Now, I didn't really drop the names of them or anything, but there are some independent news outlets out there that are really kicking ass, dropping a lot of good stories and doing some real journalism and bringing out some dirt. But even those type of networks and those branches of even those type of areas, they won't even touch these stories either. They might say, oh, why aren't they talking about it? And that's it. They gave you 5 seconds of it. But there's a lot of stuff that could be happening. So I'm not sure if you know about one of his main buddies here that would supply him with clients. Or not clients, but supply him with girls. Young Nature, he happened to be some fancy bigwig model agent. His name was let me see if I got it here. Jean something. Not Van Damme, because that dude's awesome. It was like Jean-Luc something. I don't know, man. Some big fancy fashion designer guy was, supplying Epstein with all kinds of girls. And nobody wants to talk about this because my man was in prison and supposedly died of suicide in prison, kind of like Epstein did. And the real weird thing is, humans, his security cameras weren't working at that time. Same as well. Isn't that interesting? He dies in prison. He doesn't or doesn't kill himself. This is very strange. They're trying to close up some things here, humans. This is really strange, and no news would talk about it. Now, I make sure to always, do the proper precautions. I have a little dog who barks like crazy. If I don't hear a dog barking at something for some reason or another, I could be in danger. So I'm always looking for the poison dart. No, but I'm serious, humans. I don't understand why people don't talk about this, and people should be, because this list of clients and these perverted individuals who partied over here with these, if they did, indulge in whatever, happened in this place that they say happened there. I would like to be having some people, in trouble or, responsible for what they're doing there. It was a lot of high profile individuals. We'll say that, if I could find, that's the word I was looking for when I was, trying to find high levels of entertainment and all that stuff. Those were high profile individuals, and those names belong to the public, if you ask me. A lot of those victims' parents, some innocent parents out there, there's a lot of crazy things that happen. And so everybody wants to know, and I don't understand why the media will not touch on it. Maybe they'll touch on it when they have another backup story to deal with it. But how convenient is that, humans? His cameras were off at the time of his suicide. At the same time, not the same time, but at the same story, Epstein's cameras weren't working at the time of his suicide. Is that a very strange coincidence? And then, you hear about somebody's lawyer too. I think it was somebody's bigwig lawyer just, bit the bucket too. My condolences to your families, and I said that a little aggressive. I apologize. But this is just strange that the media, it's just really upsetting sometimes. The media is not touching on some of these stories that we should be hearing about. We should be hearing about these things. It's very strange. And it sounds very familiar that both cameras were off at the time of their deaths. Very interesting. You know what else is interesting now that we're talking about, pedophiles? Mr. Kid Rock, who recently tried to do a redactive album. He did another album that Rolling Stone just took a big dump on. Rolling Stone took a dump on one of Kid Rock's recently released albums, saying that he was like a Karen in this whole album, that they wouldn't even rate it, put it on their charts. And he didn't even promote it because he knew what he was doing. He was trying to persuade and go political with this album, but it kind of backfired on him. So Rolling Stones, like I said, took a big dump on this album. And you don't really hear it on the radio because it was that bad. And they described it as words of cringe, and they described him as a lyrical Karen. So he was dropping Karen bars supposedly on this album, and I heard a couple songs. They were really bad. I understood what they were saying when they said, Karen. It was really strange. So then he comes out with a new single. I forget the name of that damn one because it was all trying to be another political one to make up for that crappy shit album he did. And it was all redactive stuff. It was all it was against the shot and against his mask. As to the other one was you ain't shit if you ain't got the mask or the shot. It was all just contradictive shit. And it was so bad. If you're that big of a rock star, and like anybody big rock stars, and he turned the comments off on the video, that's how you know how bad it was. Because you didn't want to see what was going down, what people's opinion was on your lyrics and everything on that song. But speaking of lyrics on his songs, there's a children's film that a lot of people are familiar with. Maybe some of you aren't because it's kind of an older film. But it goes by the name of Osmosis Jones. I don't remember exactly which motion picture company did this film. It was an animated motion picture. Really funny. Really entertaining. Your kids will love the film. But humans, there is a song on this children's motion picture soundtrack by this individual by the name of Karen Kid Rock, a local from Detroit. I used to like him a lot. I've talked about Kid Rock stories before. I like the dude a lot. He used to be a rapper Then he switched over to like the rack rock or little rap rock, and then he went to country. You know, he's got talent in the music. But humans, some lyrics seem to have showed up in this children's movie soundtrack from Kid Rock featuring the late, great Joe C., rest in peace. And these lyrics are very interesting. When you heard me with that statement of speaking of pedos, here's the lyrics of a Kid Rock song from a motion picture soundtrack for children. And I believe the song was called Cool Daddy or Daddy Cool. Something like that. Who gives a shit? Go look this up. The soundtrack for Osmosis Jones humans, if you let your children watch this song, or if you bought it for your children who are now probably teenagers, just throw the shit away. Here are the lyrics from this song, just some of them. I'm not going to do them all because I don't want to, lose my voice either trying to talk like Kid Rock. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't going to do that shit and fuck y'all ears up. But anyways, here are some lyrics from that song on a children's motion picture soundtrack. Here we go, humans. Okay, so now people say my mind's blown. I'm cooling like a snow cone. On my cell phone, I'm a pagey. Can't call me, just page me. That's how you know how old this song is when he's talking about pagers and shit. Okay, this movie's kind of old. But still. Okay, I'm sure this song's probably on the Spotify catalog right now. Okay, humans? Okay, young ladies, I like 'em underage, see. Some say that's statutory, and then Joe C's voice comes in after Kid Rock says some say it's statutory. Then Joe C, his voice comes in. I don't want to play it so I don't get no copyright and shit. And he says, but I say it's mandatory in his Joe C voice. Rest in peace. So, if you, and there's more bullshit lyrics on here. But just that one right there. He likes them underage, and some say that's statutory. In a children's motion picture soundtrack. Yes, humans. That means when the Osmosis Jones was running through doing his thing, that song played one time or another during this film or in the credits. Imagine your kid wanting to sit for those end credit scenes. No. They didn't have them back then. But regardless, this is bananas. That they let a lyrics like that go into a children's motion picture soundtrack. And I'm sure there's probably a lot more songs and risque lyrics that have made it out there, but this one just kind of caught my attention, and I thought I would share it with all you humans out there today. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode. And if you did, I would appreciate it if you would smash that like button. Hit me with a subscription and turn on those notifications because I'm here twice a week. My name is Jaime, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent. Till next time, humans. See ya.
Yes, yes.